clean. They're mean. They're wrecking machines. That's right, you are.
Pseudo Legendaries, or Pseudo. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the second one seems similar to saying Pseudo-Wudo. Either way, they're not real legendary, so it doesn't really matter. So you may be asking what a Pseudo Legendary actually is. Fine, I'll tell you. Well, they have a base stat total of 600, have a 2-stage evolution, 1,250,000 experience total at level 100, and until Goodra came into being, they all had a marking of blue at least somewhere on the body. Yeah, slugs are always the ones who have to ruin everything, starting with my plants. They could be rare to find in the games and act as a powerhouse on any team they're built within. And there's 7 of them.
So, let's discuss them individually, as this is a countdown, and we have to rank them. This is how this usually works. Let us commence the beginning. Scythe!
At the shamefully shameful bottom, where things go to rot away like the pieces of dung that they are, we have something which isn't a piece of dung, not sorry to say. Hydraegon! Yeah, it's just a garbage purifier, as I do find the Pseudo fairly nice looking. The first time you see this Goodra in the flesh, you wonder if you can stand a chance, or spit out that slowpoke tail you were so happily force-fed. Manly dragonness aside, I'm not the keenest on its design personally, but I choose it over a 5-year-old dragon drawing any day. Its heads are kind of derp, which don't really belong there. It's like it kind of tried to be a Hydra and then drained all the non-knowledge from the 2 heads to feed to the first one. And now you're left with claws with faces. In battle, Hydraegon is the ultimate special attacker when concerning these Pseudo-Wudos, holding a life orb and summoning a Draco Meteor from the alien god Deoxys him or herself. Dark Pulse, which in the real world dictates a flat line. Superpower? Or Fire Blast? Oh, right. Superpower is for Blissey, Snorlax, and others like them. And then Roost or Iron Tail for fairies. So, Hydraegon possesses the mind of a gorilla, attacking anything that moves. Much like a chav, but with much less stiff shuffling of the shoulders. Only one brain, like I said. Devours everything in its path. Be afraid of the exclamation mark! Speculations lead to it being based off the Yamata no Aruchi. I hope I said that right, which Ken Sugimori apparently confirmed to be true. Well, I could stop there. This was the 8-forked serpent, which was 8-headed and 8-tailed. There's also the Slavic dragon, which seems more accurate, even though the other one's true, or the Hydra. And apparently Hydraegon's evolution line was originally meant to be cyber dragons. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Threatened to sue. Stick to your tabloid facts, you weirdo!
Quick!
The Salamander, who's either a lizard or a salamander. Salamence! Yes. Salamence I would describe as the Call of Duty gamer's Dragonite. Edgy and mean, and definitely not cuddly. Either way, what bothers me is that although I like Salamence for what it is, this is where Game Freak stuck with an idea they already had with Kryptonite, and made only a few tweaks, which doesn't really work too great with Pokemon most of the time. However, if you do prefer a Pokemon you can stand on whilst looking overhead at a drive-in theater, then look no further. You're welcome. I think when Mega Salamence was originally announced, people really detested the design, but I don't know, I just find it quite intimidating. You know when you're at a train station and then seagulls come down to steal people's food, and they don't just flap their wings really hard, they glide like they're ghosts. That's exactly what Salamence is right here. So yeah, if there's any reason to choose Salamence over Dragonite, it's its added speed. Not the best of speed in its base form, but in Mega form, it then gets an extra 10 attack, more defense, more special attack, more special defense, and definitely more speed. Dragon Dance, because apparently dancing makes dragons stronger. Roost, because Mega Salamence is perfectly alright with landing with only 2 legs and looking like a wyvern that's a bit disfigured. I'm just saying wyverns don't usually have that shape wings. You can have Double Edge or Return to complement its aerialate ability while in Mega form. Earthquake, pretty standard. Substitute, maybe. Or Refresh, maybe as well. So the anime has shown how Bagon always wants to fly, preferably off a really tall cliff, so that it hopefully survives. But now, after 1,000 levels later, it finally evolves. And remember, if you're happy, it's perfectly okay to fly around and spit fire all over the place. Maybe that's why Lavaridge Town has got so many hot springs. But when it's angry, it then rivals Groudon in a battle of drought. So it does appear to be based on a salamander. That explains the body structure. But also combined with a archetypal fire-breathing European dragon, like you see on the Welsh flag. And is by far the most decorative flag in the whole world. Yeah, it's got external gills, so yeah, it's more a salamander than it is a lizard. Moving on.
Pimp! Oh!
The extremely tough dragon who failed in the scare program at Monsters University. It's Dragonite! You'll either love me or hate me for this one, putting it only at number 5. But for the people who love other Pseudo Legendaries more, probably won't care, unless they like Salamence or Hydraegon. To which, I don't care. No, but I like this idea that Dragonite proves to which looks can be completely misleading. Because you can see many times behind that derpy face, when it gets angry, you know it's angry. And imagine getting karate chopped with those arms. Pokemon like Charizard with skinny arms don't stand a chance against these pair of brick breaks. The whole idea of Dratini shedding its skin into a glorious dragon like Dragonair and then establishing itself as something surprising like this, I think probably caught many fans of Pokemon off guard when they saw it at first. But as time went on, it was generally accepted that Lance was just going to own everybody with 3 Dragonites that are underleveled. So Dragonite is all about raw power. I've seen many Dragonites hold a weakness policy to complement its multi-scale ability, so when it's hit by a super effective move, the attack and special attack sharply increase when hit by those super effective moves. Does it always work though? Well, apparently, this website says to use a choice band, and then give it Outrage, that's like Dragonite's signature move, Extreme Speed, Fire Punch, I mentioned those arms, and Earthquake. So it is one tough cookie. So yeah, strip Dragonite down to its skull, and you'll see that its intelligence is said to match that of humans. You'll also probably kill it and cause it intense pain. What kind of stupid rumor is that? It lives somewhere in the sea and it flies. I want to hear another one. KB eats food on a table. Wow, it's weird to see that Dragonite is actually based off something. I thought it was just pulled out of the bag. Sea dragons, European dragons, fairy dragons. It sure doesn't like fairies though. Chinese dragon, Japanese dragons, Timbuktu dragon, Oliver Twist's dragon.
Petor!
The only slug that's actually worth a damn. Goodra! I think many people will view Goodra as being too cute to be a Pseudo Legendary. Obviously, judging by the past entry, that's kind of untrue. All you need to be a Pseudo Legendary is those stats and that experience shit, all that stuff. It doesn't matter if a headless turkey is a Pseudo... Actually, no. That would be quite stupid. But Goodra is not a headless turkey. It's a bipedal creature with hind legs and looks quite like Majin Buu's pet. Me turn you into snail! Tastes like chicken! I don't know, I just love Goodra's finish and that hidden potential effect that some Pokemon bring. That they don't look all that tough, but there is something there that's a bit off. And just like I mentioned about Dragonite's arms, imagine getting whipped with that tail. Now Goodra's special defense is beyond immense, and its attack and special attack are fairly similar. However, unlike how I used Goodra when I had it, probably the best way to use it is as a physical user and give it the ability Sap Sipper with the choice band attached. With Outrage, Earthquake or Fire Punch, Power Whip, this tail will go down your throat. And if you're weak against grass, look out. Or Iron Tail. Or if you're weak against steel, you slave. This Pokemon is very friendly. It will hug its trainer, leaving that trainer covered in sticky slime. Cool, I've always wanted to be Spider-Man. It throws a punch that's equivalent of the force of 100 pro boxers. Piss off, Roman Reigns, this is the real Superman punch. Actually, no, the real Superman punch is actually Superman doing a punch. So it's based on the Lucador, a mythical serpent mollusk creature from French folklore. That's what makes it pretty interesting, actually. I'll be honest. So it can be based off soft-bodied gastropods like slugs, nudibranch, the blue dragon sea slug, which is actually a slug which is very appealing to the eye. If it was in a museum and behind glass, which it didn't have to touch me. It could be based on the yokai, called Shushibora, meaning Ascended Trumpet Shell, which is a trumpet shell snail that lives 1,000 years in the mountains, blah blah blah. You can read it there. I don't have to tell you. I'm not your slave, okay?
3!
The best Pokemon to be used in metagame. Haha, get it? It's crap joking it. Metagross! Now yes, I mentioned the whole hidden potential thing about Goodra. On the opposite of that spectrum, you get Metagross, throwing everything on the table, pulling no punches, hiding its mouth, which actually is pretty freakish. An automaton with, in my opinion, the best looking shiny. So yeah, it is full of its own different surprises as compared to some other Pokemon. As for Mega Metagross, the design is not too bad. I mean, it throws away its other legs, which are behind it, in favor of big legs. And I do like the fact that that horn represents a sort of goatee, like he should be in System of a Down, and play all the instruments. So in base form, Metagross is primarily an attacker and defender, although its other stats aren't too bad. But when it's in Mega form, it gets increases to everything besides HP, but primarily its speed. Its defense is still the highest, and it has the ability Tough Claws. And with Tough Claws, that means moves like Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt, Hammer Arm, and Ice Punch or Bullet Punch, or even Pursuit. There's also Grass Knot there, but this makes this Pokemon one tough opponent. And I say that with very wide open eyes, if you could see me recording this with my microphone right now. So it has 4 brains in total. Eat your heart out, Alakazam. Take a drink every time I've said that phrase, or said something close to it. And soon we'll see Metagross on an episode of Jeopardy! The weird thing is that it's 2 Metang achieving fusion, yet only one of my Metangs evolved. Maybe one of them was dead and Metang just brought him out of the ground. Maybe there's like hundreds and thousands of Metangs buried in Moss Deep City. Description is just frightening in itself. It's like being swallowed up by the gaping dragon. So, it's similar to a robot, appears to be based on a supercomputer, a spider, reminiscent of a UFO. Okay, its origin is kind of a bit vague, but oh well, it works.
Die!
Meet the Gargantuan Chomper. What? It's Garchomp! It's a land shark. I don't think I have to say anything more than that. But I love the lone star thing that it has on its forehead or nose, whatever that is. Then like antennas or whatever they are, shaped like torpedoes or giant bullets. Pretty much a smooth and sleek design, and enough detail to complement it, without going too overboard. Then Mega Garchomp adding sickled hands to the equation. Well, not really hands, are they? It also looks like it's got a buff chest. How the hell can it do bench press? So honestly, despite the fact that Mega Garchomp has ridiculously enhanced attack, people would still choose Garchomp over it. And this is mainly because the speed of Mega Garchomp gets greatly reduced for whatever stupid reason they decided to go with. It's best to go with its ability Rough Skin instead of Sandveil, because you want to bring that speed to its great effect, whilst also using Rocky Helmet to bring people down with your depressive mood. So you're gonna have Stealth Rock, obvious one, you just want to drag people down with your negativity. Earthquake, or Toxic. Dragon Tail, so you can bring people down. Fire Blast, or Toxic again. European Dragon, Hammerhead Shark, Dromedary, Theropods, and a Jet Aircraft. Oh wait, sorry, why did I do the origin first? It flies at sonic speed, yet it can't learn fly. Come on now. You say you do one thing, but you can't. Maybe it can only glide, but if it can only glide, then the Pokédex should say that it can glide, only. It shouldn't say that it flies, because that would imply that it can go up. It never allows its prey to escape, so it's pretty much like the ATF on steroids. Apparently it's more menacing than the Flash when it runs, despite being slower. Oh yeah, its body is covered in fine scales that reduce drag, but it acts like its whole life is a drag. And finally we have the tyrant of the Pokemon world, Tyranitar! I don't really know what else can be said about Tyranitar. I mean, personally, I think it has more than enough to complement it. Its spikes give it like a Godzilla-like appearance, or Gojira, depending what nationality you are. And it's pretty much gargantuan. It's everything served for a package of fun. And the Mega Evolution, I suppose, just adds more fuel to the fire in a good way. I mean, it looks more menacing, and they haven't changed much from the original design. This is another Pokemon people would rather use in its base form, probably because its Mega form doesn't add much new to it. So with a Choice Scarf to raise its speed by 50%, you've got Stone Edge, Pursuit, Superpower, Crunch, and Ice Punch. Oh yeah, the Choice Scarf is probably the reason why the base form is better. It can't be harmed, so sticks and stones, everybody. It can be called names. I love how it's so subtle and vague as it can change the landscape. What are we, in a spy movie? The power of the sun in the palm of its mighty hand. It probably doesn't get any challenges whatsoever, because everyone's like, oh, I know you'll beat me. So apparently Tyranitar shares strong similarities with the armadillo-girdled lizard. That must explain the firm scales. It can also be based on Godzilla. That's probably one of the best origins you can think of. As well as combining 3 dinosaurs such as the Tyrannosaurus, which we all know and love, the Iguanodon, and the Stegosaurus, along with a crocodile and an alligator. They're too minuscule. They're not a threat to anybody. And no, Bangiras is not bang her ass. What are people on about? So if you're only watching this video and you're wondering why there's an overall list, as I keep calling it, go and watch the other Pokemon countdowns that I've previously made and you'll understand why and where these Pokemon have come from. Starting from top Gen 1 Pokemon. Anyway, overall list.
So, only one list to go, and it will probably be the biggest one yet. I assure you of that. Anyway, until next time, thank you for watching, and lights out.